If you've ever looked at a list of top places to rockhound in Tennessee, no doubt you've seen Cooper's Gem Mine right towards the top of that list. I've been dying to go since November. However, right when I went, they had just closed for the season. Thankfully, it's warming up. It was almost 90 degrees this past weekend. This was their first opening weekend, and it coincided right with my birthday. So today, we got 2 bags of rocks to go from Cooper's Gem Mine. We're sorting through them and seeing what sort of treasure we can find and possibly what sort of treasure we can make. Let's dig in. You might be wondering, what makes Cooper's Gem Mine one of the top rock hounding places in Tennessee? Good question. If you've heard anything about Cooper's Gem Mine, you've probably heard that people often find rubies in their mix of rocks. Obviously, that puts it towards the top of the list. I don't know that I found any. I found a couple chips that look rubyish. They don't glow under UV light, but not all rubies do. But maybe. I really like about Cooper's Gem Mine is that all of their rocks are sourced regionally. In this case, while most of their rocks come from North Carolina, they are sourced from all along the Appalachian Trail. And I think that really sets it apart from any other sort of roadside gem mine. Now, here's our haul of rocks, still sandy from the outside. I thought we'd go through, maybe not all of them, but some of the cooler pieces. And we might even see if we can pick one out and make a cab out of it, because it would be really cool to have a necklace sort of commemorating this birthday, commemorating this experience. I feel lucky because I got not one, not two, but 3 of one of my favorite stones, and that's moss agate. And this one in particular is so cool. You don't always see the agate banding on the moss agate, but look at that. You've got that white agate banding, you've got that translucency, and here's why they call it moss agate if you didn't know. But look, between that translucency, you have that green where it actually looks like moss growing in it. Now here's a nice chunk of blue apatite. I love blue apatite. The color is so vibrant. And I think this one could be a contender. I know it's a softer rock, but I think it could still be a contender for us to make something out of, because it's a nice size chunk. Some of these are much smaller and unfortunately wouldn't make good pendants, but I think this one's an option. This is one of my absolute favorite pieces of the day. Look at the color variation from the front to the back. And that's natural. This is bornite. So what you're seeing there is copper. I would love to make a pendant out of this one, but I actually don't think you can. I think bornite's mainly used just as like specimen display pieces. So that's probably what I'll keep this one for. This is actually my first piece of bornite, so I'm actually really excited to put it on display. No surprise, I'm a sucker for the agates, and this is a really cool one. This is tree agate, somewhat similar to moss agate, but you don't have that true translucency and that sort of dendritic moss that you have in the moss agate. But look at this. We've got a little cool quartz pocket in this one. Look at those crystals. So cool. Here's a few pieces of red jasper we got. This one even has some really beautiful banding, especially on this side. I really like those colors. I don't think we'll go with the pendant on this one. It's still a cool stone, and I think I'll probably tumble these because they're a good size for it. But I think we won't make the pendant out of it today just because I have so much red jasper. Here's a crowd favorite, amethyst. Honestly, I probably got even more than this. There's always a ton of amethyst in these little mystery rock buckets or gem mines, because look at that color. I mean, ignore the cat hair. But everybody loves amethyst. Here's a super cool piece of zebra marble. Look at those stripes. So cool. If you don't already know what these are, the answer might surprise you, actually. Look at these little green stones in here. This is actually a low-grade emerald. So, I'm not rich off of this, but it's still pretty cool. Here's a variety of what I think is amazonite. A really pretty light blue stone. It can be found in Virginia, so I think that's probably where this one's from. Some very pretty blue aventurine. which is a quartzite. Really pretty. Look at those little blue stripes in them. Always very pretty. Check out this colorful bunch. We got a ton of calcite in these bags. Orange, blue, even this really pretty purple. I don't have a ton of necklaces that I've made, but I do have a calcite necklace, so I think I'm going to pass on these for now. Lots of quartz, no surprise there. Some really beautiful clear quartz. And some light pink rosy quartz, some milkier quartz. This one's a crystal point, but still very pretty. Now here we might have a contender. Look at this beautiful blue chalcedony. Look how it starts at this translucent stage and goes down into this beautiful navy. I think this one is so pretty and it will shine up so beautifully. I'm going to put that one in the maybe pile. I believe these are both serpentinite. I feel pretty confident this bigger one is. If you know otherwise, please let me know. This one I'm a little less sure of. And I also have two more that could be, I just don't know a lot about this stone. This one has a lot of the same coloration, but it does have some translucency. So I'm not sure if that's a common feature of the stone. You can see this bigger one does have some like white crystallization in it. So maybe that's a feature. Now, while I could cut it, serpentinite does contain asbestos powder when you cut it. So I think I'm probably not going to do anything with this one for now. This one's a new one for me. Septarian stone. Really unique shapes and colors. I read it's also called dragon stone or mud crack stone. It's called mud crack stone because basically mud keeps shrinking down, which forms these lines and designs. And that's what creates this kind of unique pattern over this. This one's very similar. Really interesting, cool rocks. I thought it might be a fossil when I first saw it, just because that sort of looks like a crinoid fossil a little bit up at the top. Really interesting stone, so. Here's some biotite, also known as black mica. Now this one's really interesting to me. Look at that purple with that red banding around it. To me, at first glance, this looks like an agate. But if you look inside, it kind of doesn't look like chalcedony. It looks like a conglomerate. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just seems like there's a lot going on in there that doesn't seem really typical of an agate for me. This might be one. It's possible that's more banding in there. This might be one that's worth sawing open as well, because I'm just really confused. It's beautiful, but it's confusing. All right, after some very hard deliberation, I've narrowed it down to these three. This one, I'm thinking no, but I kind of just want to saw it open. So I may just do that and show it to you. In fact, I'm going to saw these two open too, and then we'll decide from there. Well, that didn't help me too much. Other than this one, which we already really decided we weren't going to do the pendant out of. Turns out there's lots of fractures in there. This fractured again. I'll probably just put these in the tumbler because it is still really beautiful. And it's cool to see what's on the inside there. And on this side. But obviously, good move to not make this one the pendant. Too many fractures. Just, it wouldn't work out. However, here is the tree agate. Wow. Stunning. The inside pattern is even more beautiful than the outside. The outside was cool looking. But geez, this is gorgeous. And I knew the blue chalcedony would be cool, but that translucency is even more beautiful in person. You can sort of see where you can see my finger behind that. It is stunning. And we've got a little bit more white on the inside. That's pretty, but I really could not decide. I actually, full transparency, had to go and ask my husband what he thought. And even he had a hard time deciding, and he's a very decisive person. But he also decided that the tree agate was the way to go. Not that I'll never do the blue chalcedony and you'll see it again. But today, we're going to go with one of these. And here's my necklace on the chain. I'm absolutely thrilled with the way it came out. I am so happy that I finally got a chance to go to Cooper's Gem Mine, sort through those rocks. Guys, if you have any calving tips for me, let me know. If you have any other gem mines I need to visit, also let me know in those comments. Otherwise, I'll see you next Wednesday at 11.